Hey guys, Joshtech here, just making a little video to show off or slash explain some of the new things that just came out in 1.7, which included the NPC spawners, Kit GUI, Taxman, and a few other little things here and there. So the first one I will show is the Kit GUI. So to access the kit menu slash GUI, whatever you want to call it, it's just /kit in chat, and then it will pop up this nice little simple menu where you can just select through the kits that are available on a server and then basically pick the ones that are available to you. Now this list is dynamically created, so only kits available to the players will be displayed here. So if you have hidden kits or kits for VIP moderators or admin levels, then they won't show here if the player logged in is a normal rank, etc. So they can see the cooldown, so the amount of time that it, once they redeem it, how long it will take before they'll be able to redeem it again, and the cost if there is a cost on a kit. So for instance, example 3 is 5 bronze. Now to redeem a kit from this menu, it's just pretty much just select the one you want. You can see we've got the new NPC spawner in here, and then we can just purchase. Now you'll see you get the contents of NPC have been added to your inventory / player, and then you can just close that, and that's a very full inventory. And there we see NPC spawner right there. The old method still works, so the /list kit, but it's just the names like it was before. What is next? Next I can show the building is not allowed here. That's what I can show you. 2 seconds. But buildings allowed here. I'll explain that short. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll just build a little play area. And what we'll do is we'll place one of these little guys down. And there he is. So these are the new NPC spawners. This is the first version of them, so they are bound to change drastically in one way or another. But basically, once you've placed them down, just press E to interact to bring up the NPC spawner config. And from here, I'll just explain what's going on here. Okay, so you can name an NPC spawner. As of now, there's no real benefit to giving an NPC spawner a name, but later on, this name, like it says here, name of the spawner for identification. So later on, admins will be able to configure the NPC spawners within the world directly from the admin panel, rather than having to manually go up to each one and configure them, pretty much. But they will still have to place them manually. A few things have changed since the video I put out last week, I think it was. Basically there's an apply button now. Previously I had it on every time something changed, it was updating, and that's a big no-no. Because the way the NPC spawners work is if something's changed, it will kill all the existing spawned NPCs that the spawner spawned and then generate new ones. Obviously from that you can understand what happens. So enabled, it's pretty self-explanatory. Is this NPC spawner enabled? Hidden, this is broken currently. Yeah, I know. But basically what this will allow you to do is when the person who places the NPC spawner is near the spawner, it will reveal itself, but when they're away from it, it will hide itself. So that way this little tiny cube, well, what it is, it's a little tiny cube now, it may change to something else, I'm not 100% sure. Won't be visible to other players, and only visible to the person who placed it down, or admin, once they're near. Class to spawn, this basically will spawn whatever you select here. So if you wanted elephants, you can spawn elephants. If you wanted rabbits, you can spawn rabbit. Keep populated. What this little toggle here does is, say for instance you spawn 10 rabbits. Every time one of those 10 rabbits die, it will then spawn another one instantly. So it will always keep that population of 10 rabbits constantly. When this is disabled, it will wait until all 10 rabbits are killed before it will spawn a new batch of rabbits. If that makes sense. Now, NPC max count. Obviously, how many NPCs of the class or type of NPC to spawn per NPC spawner. 2 seconds. Derp. Okay. NPC spawn interval. This does not work when keep populated is enabled. When it's disabled, what it does is, say for instance, all 10 rabbits were killed. I didn't actually apply, so that didn't say. I'll just apply that now. So when all 10 rabbits are killed, it will then wait this amount of time in seconds before it spawns more. Yeah. Spawn radius. This is the radius around this NPC spawner that the NPCs will spawn. 0 is not a good radius. And I should have defaulted that to a much higher number, so probably like 150. Alright, we'll go 200. Roaming distance, I'm not even sure if that worked. But yeah, what it's meant to do is the distance the NPCs will roam from the spawner. I'll actually have to check. Now, NPC health and NPC scale. These are the modifiers for the NPC guardian that gets attached to the NPC once it's spawned. A lot of people have been confused about what the NPC guardian is. Basically, it's just a component that allows Pippi to interact with NPCs directly without actually touching anything else. So it's kind of like a little hook, I guess you could say. So from here you can set the NPC health. So every NPC spawned from this NPC spawner would have their health set to, well, if this is greater than 0, it will have the health set to that. So if I had that to 1, then every rabbit spawned will have 1 health, etc., etc. Scale, same thing. It modifies the scale of the NPC to that scale. So if you had 0.5, the rabbits would be half the size of what they normally are. If you had that 10, then I don't know what you're doing because that's just too big. So what we'll do is we'll have, for instance, we'll make it spawn 10 rabbits. We'll make the scale half. We'll keep them populated. Spawn radius, enable. And we'll call it rabbit. And the minute we hit apply, the rabbits spawn in a derpy way. So long, little rabbit. So now, well, if I come back here and say, for instance, I change this down to 5 and then hit apply, all of the rabbits that were previously spawned are now dead. And then 5 new... What the... That's a special one. We must keep him. So yeah, that's pretty much the NPC spawners in a nutshell. So you can put them in places like this. I guess, 200 may be a little high for a little room like this. Well, he's going to the moon. Screw that other one. This one's the special one. Obviously, that isn't useful in this for an NPC spawner to spawn a rabbit like that. But just test it out. Like I said, this is the first version of the NPC spawner. Big changes will be happening to make them more efficient, etc., etc. Okay, what is next? Tax map. So in 1.7, I brought in the tax map Now basically what the taxman is the opposite of payday. Rather than giving a player money, it will take a certain percent of their wallet, so the total amount of money that they have, and make it disappear, I guess, right now. My intent is eventually, once I've hooked up the server capital cap, that it'll be like a constant flow within a server. So when people get paid with payday, it'll get taken out of the server capital cap, and then when they get taxed, it goes back. And then when players, pay other players or other stuff, I'm not going to go into that. There'll be a transaction fee on top of that. So yeah, basically that's taxman there. These are the configurations, settings, whatever you want to call it. So taxman enable, tax offline players. That way if you don't have people that are online that much, they can't, if you've got pay online offline players, they can't obtain a fortune. Another thing that I've changed is the way that payday I didn't really change it because I made it how it is now, but the payday occurrence. Before, I had every day, so this would be every in-game days. So we're on day 2 now, so in 5 more days payday should... But then what I also did was, instead of setting the time of day, it's now time of day from last fire. So the last time payday was called, it will then check if 1 hour has passed. So that way you can have it. So if we set that to... There we go, payday true. Because it's been greater than 1 since last payday. So now every time, this game time here, so it's about whatever point, to the point that payday was triggered, it will then fire it again, every increment of 1. You'll get there. So anyway, well, that's gone. So that's how that works. So if you wanted it to happen multiple times during one in-game day, then you just set that to 0 and that to how many times per day. Keep in mind that your day and night cycle can be changed at a different rate if you've got that set up, etc. Tax percentage, how much of one's total amount do they get taxed? Ideally, try not to have them synced up because, well, if you want to, I guess you can, but what I like doing is I like payday 7, and then every second payday they get taxed. It's all up to you. It's your server. I just write the stuff. There has to be more stuff. To actually get the NPC spawners, you can either spawn them in there, like so, or you can do what I did and just add the NPC spawner to a kit and then just set requires rank to add. If you wanted to give it to players, which I highly do not recommend, but there's probably someone out there that does want to, then you can just set that to normal, treat it like a normal kit. What else? I remember. Okay, so we've got a new taxman command. Basically it calls taxman. So. Oh no, I lost 3 bronze. Another one is the shutdown command. This command is dangerous. Dangerous in being that if you don't do your permissions correctly and someone is a troll, basically what the shutdown command does is restarts your server from within Pippi in a clean manner. This is kind of useful for if, say for instance, you have a server set up with an update script that checks Steam for an update on the server and your mods. Then if you have someone online that you trust and you've given them that command, then they can shut down the server within Pippi without having to access the admin panel of your hosting, etc. Another thing is the safe zone. Now, safe zones were out last update, but they were a little bit broken. Now they're a little bit better. So basically, to create a safe zone, like if you have a building, something like this, or a village or something, basically what you can do is if I wanted to turn this area into a safe zone, I would walk up to the wall like so. Type in safe zone. You should get that little message. And then it should turn this area into a safe zone. You can tell that you're in a safe zone by the buff that it gives you. Safe zone, nice green. The minute you walk out, it should remove. The minute you're back in, it should reappear. Now, players will have this buff whilst in here at all times, even climbing. Oh, it went away. It made a liar. I am a liar. Maybe I'm going too high. Well, I'll just cut that part out of the video. So yeah, that's just a few things in the new update.